Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sisters on Fire IRL series. My name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the host of this series, and the woman virtually next to me is Shakita Jones. She's going to share her amazing story and why she's a part of the series. So without further ado, Shakita, please introduce yourself, share who you are, what do, what you're an advocate for, all of that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Shakita Jones. I live in San Diego, California. I am a lupus advocate as well as a mental health advocate. I've been so now for about a little over 5 years.
Wow. Okay. And you also you're suffering with lupus, right?
Right. I've been dealing with lupus since 2011, actually. It started off as a spot on my nose, and then it proceeded to turn into a rash all over my face. And an aunt also of mine had lupus. So I believe God was preparing me even back then when I would have to take care of my aunt when I was 12 years old. So, but I never heard of lupus. I thought my aunt just died from a kidney disease, and I really wasn't aware as in how much it affect African American women, especially until I also got lupus.
Wow.
So,
So what are the stats that how are we more at risk for lupus?
yeah, so 3 out of 5 women who have lupus are African Americans, and we are the least to know about lupus. Um, the symptoms are very similar to other diseases. In fact, it mimics other diseases, and that's why it's so hard to diagnose. But it's also hard to diagnose because not many doctors know the symptoms about lupus. And I was severely ill before I even got a diagnosis. I was on death's door before I got a diagnosis. I could tell you a little bit about that. So in 2011, I became really sick. I was always tired, but even before 2011, I was always tired. I was always complaining about pain. I have
Mm-hmm.
3 children, and so after every child, I would have more severe pain, and doctors just told me, oh, you're young, maybe you're stressed out because you're a mom, maybe you have, maybe you're depressed. That's one of the things that they first want to tell you, being a Black woman and
Mm-hmm.
being socially, economically, you're not at a level that other people may be, and maybe you live in like not poverty level, but your income isn't as high as other people. So that's like one of the first things they would tell you is that maybe you're depressed and you need to take medications. So
Mm.
in 2012 was when it became full circle. And I was in and out of the hospitals. Doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. And eventually I got a biopsy. And then they told me I have lupus, but they didn't know what kind of lupus that I had. So from that point on, I had to learn how to advocate for myself and ask lots of
Mm-hmm.
questions and do a lot of research. And so that's pretty much how I got started having my own organization because the organization that I was a part of was a lupus organization. And they weren't helping my community. And I saw that there was a need in my own community to bring awareness, not just about lupus, but also about mental illness, because that's a topic that we don't discuss either in the Black community. Is a lot of stigma attached to that, as well as lupus, because lupus is an invisible disease. So a lot of times people aren't taking you seriously when you're telling them that you're having all these pains and you're having a lot of things come with it. Confusion,
Mm-hmm.
absent-minded, foggy brain, whatever you want to call it, it comes with it. And depression does come with lupus for some people because it's a serious life change. Your whole life is different from that point on. And so,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, water. So, but that is something that's very dear to my heart, mental illness and
Mm-hmm.
lupus. I want to take the stigma out of it and bring as much awareness as I possibly can. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah. So doctors need to know, and people need to know also that lupus is not contagious. A lot of people think that when you bring up lupus, and you tell them that it's an autoimmune disease, automatically they think of AIDS. But lupus is the
Mm,
opposite of AIDS. People who have lupus, our autoimmune system make too many antibodies. So our body is overly acting, trying to protect itself, but it's attacking us. And when you have
gotcha.
AIDS, you have no immune system. But the two things that are similar is that when you have lupus, you have to take a medicine that makes your immune system, it suppresses your immune system, so it opens you up also for infections. So that's the only similarity, but
Mm.
no, it's not contagious at all.
Okay.
No.
And just to interrupt and backtrack a little bit, can you share a little bit more about your organization name and website? Where can people access it to learn more about the organization and support you?
Okay. Yes, I'm on Facebook, Lupus Warriors United 2016. That's a support group for people with lupus or any family members who may have lupus. Also, I created a support group called Lupus for Black Women, and
Mm-hmm.
that's mainly for us because how we deal with things is different than other people, and we need
Yes.
to support each other. And they can find me on LinkedIn under
Mm-hmm.
Shakita Jones. They can find me on at Twitter at Cure for Lupus, and they can
Mm-hmm.
also find me on Instagram under Shakita Lovely Beautiful Jones.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
and the last thing is my email, shakitashontajones at gmail.com.
Okay, absolutely. So now with lupus, I don't know how much of the history you know, but like, is it always been around? Is this something that has been affecting people more recently?
Mm. Well, scientists don't know how long lupus been around, but it's starting to get more recognition, not as much
Mm-hmm.
as I feel that it should. The things that bother me when it comes to lupus, one thing is that they believe that Africans in Africa don't suffer from lupus, and they do. There's a high percentage of people in Africa who have lupus, but because they have
Mm-hmm.
other diseases like malaria and typhoid, I think it's called typhoid, something like that, is very
Mm-hmm.
similar to lupus. So
Gotcha.
lupus affects women in childbearing ages. So if you're a young woman and you're showing symptoms of lupus, they're thinking maybe it's malaria, but lupus has
Mm.
been around for a very long time. And to answer you, I believe that if scientists took the time to figure out why lupus affects Black women and why it affects African women and what environments that we are living in, then that would answer a lot of questions has been around and why it affects Black people so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because lupus is the leading causes of death for young women, but it doesn't get a lot of recognition in this country or worldwide. The World Health Organization hasn't made it a disease that is an international disease.
Mm-hmm.
So even the CDC hasn't put it's not up there with the other diseases like cancer and diabetes and
Mm-hmm.
heart disease. It's not up there. And the reason why is because when people die from lupus, doctors at the ER don't know that that person who had a heart attack had lupus and that was the cause of the heart attack or kidney
Gotcha.
failure. They don't know that it's lupus. But I think it's even on a bigger level on that. There's a lot of discrimination that comes with being a woman of color and having an invisible disease. It's documented that in our society alone, there's discrimination against people of color. And this is documented information that there's all kind of health disparities that cause people to get sicker and not
Mm-hmm.
have health than other people, and those deterrents that cause people to not get a diagnosis sooner is because one, we're not aware of it. Two, the trust
Mm-hmm.
that Blacks have in our community because of all the things they have done to us, and because doctors aren't educating themselves about what lupus is. And in my opinion, when a young woman gets sick and you can't find any answers, that doctor should consider lupus. no one should have to suffer and be on death's door before someone discover that this person has
Hmm.
lupus. So
Gotcha. Okay.
that's one
So
of my goals. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
gotcha. Can you explain some of the symptoms so that from a person perspective, if someone is dealing with this, what should they be looking for to consider lupus?
Okay, the symptoms are very similar to other diseases, unfortunately. You have the rash that's across your nose. Not everyone has this rash. It's called a butterfly rash. You have the high fever. You
Hmm.
have body aches. You have the body aches. You have unexplainable pain. You have depression. Just things that will make you feel like maybe I have the flu or something like that. There's a criteria that doctors can follow. There's 11 criteria that the Rheumatology Association has for doctors to check off to see if that person has lupus.
Hmm.
And doctors can also do a blood panel to check your ANA and some other things to see if you have lupus. But if a
Gotcha.
person feels like they have lupus, I would suggest to anyone to look up the symptoms because it's different for everybody. Like none of my symptoms was bookcase at all. So I would suggest that people do a little research and look and compare their symptoms to what they find online and to present
Hmm.
that to the doctor. And if the doctor don't listen to you, to go to another doctor because you know what's going on with your body.
Absolutely. And what do you think are the prevailing reasons why African American women are not, I guess, when they're presenting this to their doctors, that they're not being taken seriously or they're not being heard?
I think the reason is um hello.
It
Um,
was just,
the
yeah.
reason someone called in, sorry. The reasons why we're not taken seriously is because one, we don't know that we have a voice. We don't know that that doctor is working for us. We're paying his salary. We go in there as passive aggressive and we leave feeling worse than when we arrive. We have to realize that even if we have Medi-Cal or whatever the insurance, that doctor needs us as patients as much as we need that doctor's help. And the other thing
Mhm.
is that we go in there unprepared. When you meet your doctor, have your questions already. Have your questions already that you want to ask your doctor. Also, bring someone with you because you may forget something, and know that you have the right to ask your doctor whatever. And you also have to know ahead of time because doctors only have 15 minutes to spend with you. So you have to know ahead of time what it is you're going to ask, and you have to ask questions in a way that a doctor understands. You can't go in there and be like, oh, well, my shoulder hurts. You have to be able to explain it. Like I have this throbbing pain in my shoulder. It burns when I move my head, or you have to switch and not be intimidated by doctors. They're people just like we are.
Okay, that makes sense. And for someone who's just interested in supporting, the making this more of a public conversation, is there like a local or national walk for lupus? Are there things in the like, I guess, in the cycle to make more people aware of what's going on?
Yeah, there's different organizations. There's World Lupus organizations. There's the Lupus
Mm-hmm.
Foundation of America, and the Lupus Foundation of America have what I call sister organizations in their different states and cities. So people can reach out to them. They can reach out to. There's a lot of online support, and I would even suggest that if there isn't any support for you, that you start your own thing. And a lot of people don't want to come to support groups because they feel like, well, we're just going to talk about all the negative, bad things that come with having lupus or what comes with having mental illness. But you can
Mm-hmm.
have a group that's positive and focus on the positive because also having lupus, um, for me, I can't live in the pain of it. And that's what really healed me is trusting God first and foremost. And it took me 2 years to trust him and to come into acceptance. And once I did, that's when my healing began. So I really want to express to you the what you allow in your head really matters, and those words speak to your cells and everything like that. But back to what you asked me, there are organizations and a lot of communities, people, you can research it online and just type in lupus organizations or the Lupus Foundation of America, and there's links. There's Molly Fund. There's yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So, you know, I really commend you for being so open and sharing your story and being an advocate. What would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned on your own journey with lupus, as well as being able to be a support system for others and help others with this journey as well?
What I've learned is that I'm braver than I ever thought that I was, you know,
Yeah.
and I live life fears. I'm Lupus has taught me so much about myself. Just to give you an example, before I had lupus, it was really hard for me to advocate on the behalf of myself. Now I let people know how I feel. I let doctors know how I feel and things like that. And I forgot the question because somebody was kept calling me. But could you repeat the question again?
Oh, yeah, sure. I was saying, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from your own journey with lupus, as well as a lesson that you've learned from working with others and helping others on their journey as well?
Okay, the biggest lesson actually that I've learned is that this journey isn't mine, to be honest with you. So many people reach out to me with encouraging words, and so many people are encouraged by my story. And I've learned that the journeys that we go through is not just about us, it's about other people. And if you take what's going on in your life and you use it to help others, that's when the healing begins. If you use it to get your voice, that's where the healing begins. And that's where it actually began for me, is just knowing that I'm braver than I've ever been. You know, I put it on like I put on bravery like I put on clothing. I face my fear like I put on my clothing. You know, the more I do it, the stronger I will become. And I apply
Mm,
that to everything in my life, to be honest with you. The way you conquer fear is you face it. If you want to be fearless, face the fear. If you want to be courageous, every opportunity that you have to be courageous, do it. And yes, you're going to be afraid in the beginning. I was so afraid, but the more I
yeah.
did it, the stronger I became. And now I'm talking to you. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and it's important. It's important that you continue to share your story and to really I love how you said you put on bravery like you wear clothing, and that, you know, sometimes when we don't think we have it, right? It's just you have to actively pull upon it, use resources, use, you know, your religion, your faith, and your belief in yourself that you can do it, right? That there's no other option but to do it. So push through,
Right.
move ahead, and be
Mhm.
fearless and be bold. I liked your advice about you've got to be very specific when speaking with doctors. I think that's really important for lupus or any other health condition or conditions that you're dealing with in life. You've got to be very specific and make your voice heard. If they're not listening, go to a different room, go to a different person. Like you've got to be
Right.
relentless, because especially with,
Right.
yeah, women of color in the medical industry, it really does seem like a crisis that we're not being
Mhm.
heard, but we can't stop because we've got to live. Because if they don't listen to us and
Right.
we die, then we're losing this battle. So we
Right.
have to keep moving forward. Awesome.
Right.
Okay.
And I
So as
appreciate you asking me that because
yeah.
discrimination isn't something that's talked about in the medical world.
And
And
that's
it's huge.
really upsetting because I mean there are several celebrities. I mean, doesn't Nick Cannon have lupus? Not Mariah Carey, Tony Braxton, don't they have
Right.
lupus? And Hope.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought up Nick Cannon because me and Nick Cannon come from the same area of San Diego. He's from Southeast, like I am, and he has
Oh, wow.
lupus and I have lupus. And I know his people. His people are on my page, but I've yet to be able to connect with Nick, and I would love to connect with him and make a
Yeah.
difference in our community. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, shout out to Nick Cannon. You have a sister here who's looking to connect with you, and so that you guys can really change this world and make people hear, because it sounds like lupus is not easy, right, to deal with, and that
No,
you're constantly in pain, right, and
right.
that's not okay. But the more effort and the more awareness that's brought to this, the closer we get to having some type of cure or way to ease the pain. And everyone deserves the right to live with dignity and to live as pain free as possible. You know,
Right.
so I hope that he can hear that and his people hear that, and make sure you share that with your tribe so
I
that
will.
they call him out. You know, so
Right.
I do want to, talk a little bit about Sisters on Fire. So we brought you here to have you on the series because the whole series is about celebrating women who are on fire, who are fearless, who are bold, just like you are, right? And
Oh,
so
thank
when
you.
you hear the term "sister on fire," "sisters on fire," what does that mean to you?
Sisters on Fire for me, it means that this burning desire to be great and to help others. You know, you picture a superhero in my mind, I'm this mighty warrior superhero. And you picture fire as strength, as powerful, that consumes things, you know. So for me, that Sisters on Fire mean me consuming this society and just drowning them with like a brush fire, just burning down
Mm,
everything, making them hear me. Just like how we had the California fires and it's got the world attention. That's what
mm,
Sisters on Fire means for
I
me
love that.
personally.
Absolutely, that's phenomenal. All right, so in your life, who were Sisters on Fire for you?
Sisters on Fire for me is my own daughter who dealt with domestic violence and she had the
Mm,
bravery to get out of it, even with the threat of being killed. You know, Sister on Fire is my mom who was an addict, you know, and she turned her life around. Sister on Fires is people like my sister who's gay and she lives her life. You know,
yeah.
my other sister who has mental illness, you know, those are the women in my life who are strong, you know. The homeless mother, the woman that doesn't give up and keep going no matter what, because she does have a choice. She can stop, but she chooses not to. Those are my
Mm.
heroes, and those are Sisters on Fire for me. And sisters like you too, who doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
I love that. Awesome. All right. So for anyone watching on the live or on the replay, if they're struggling with lupus or if they're struggling with their own health condition, mental illness, what advice would you share with them today to help them move forward and to light this world on fire and to pay attention to what's going on with them?
My advice to them would to be gentle to themselves, to know that there's millions of people around the world that's dealing with what you're dealing with, and you're not alone. My faith in God is my strength, and if you have faith, as small as a mustard seed, you have the power to do whatever it is that you need to do. You know, mental illness is scary. A lot of people don't like talking about it. Even I sometimes have struggles saying that I deal with this kind of mental illness. But if we don't draw attention to it, then we will stay stuck in our situation. As Black people, we have to start talking more. So if you're dealing with mental illness and you're dealing with lupus, my advice to you is to allow yourself to be okay with it and just
Mm-hmm.
put one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. Sometimes it's a second at a time. There was so many
Yeah.
times that I didn't think I could make it through the night
Mm.
because of the pain of it. You know, have good support, you know, have people who, when you want to give up, are there to encourage you. I had a great friend who helped me through having lupus, times that I wanted to give up, times that I wanted to smack the doctors, you know, because you go to
Yeah.
the ER and you're in so much pain, but they don't want to give you pain medication because of the color of your skin. So you need good
Mm-hmm.
people in your corner. Support is very important. And if you don't have support, create support. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of take yourself out of it. And there's lots of healing in that, you
I
know.
love it. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll share a little bit about my own health issues. I have hypothyroidism, so my thyroid is underactive, and it has caused all sorts of issues with like my other health issues that I've had. And yeah, it's been very frustrating. I've gone to the ER, and yeah, just exactly what you said. You tell them you're in pain, and they don't want to listen. They try to undermine what you're saying, or try to go under something else. It's like, I'm a plus size person, so
Right.
anything that's wrong, oh well, you need to lose weight, and it's just like, it's one of the most heartbreaking things to be in this country and to deal with a health issue and not be heard because of the color of your skin, or whatever other bias or bullshit, kind of
Mm.
standard
Yeah,
that
that's
they
what
that
it
they
is.
yeah.
What it
It's,
is, and they write these articles. I get so pissed when I read these articles when they want to they really want to know whether the social deterrents that cause black people to suffer more, is it the social economics part of it, or is it because they just don't know what to do? It's like, it's common sense stuff that if someone don't have access to health care, of course they're going to get sicker. If they don't know that these diseases affect their people, of course they're going to get sicker. If when you're
mm-hmm.
doing research and you're making medication, it's not also including the black woman, of course she's not going to get better. If you're not diagnosing her because
Yeah.
she gets lupus much younger than a white person, of course there's going to be issues. It's not lupus the research and the medication isn't it doesn't include us. That's what it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to. And that has
Absolutely.
to has to change.
Yeah. Absolutely. And hopefully, these are one of the conversations that can help bring awareness, and going forward, we all can help a movement, right? And it's
Right.
sickening to hear that this is something that's not being taken seriously when it's a very serious condition. So,
Right.
everyone watching, everyone listening, just really think about how you can help this and how you can support organizations with your time, with your wallet, with your, just positive thinking, and just doing what you need to do to make sure that people have better lives. And so again, I would just love for you to share, how can people get in touch with you? They want to support you, they want to champion you. Where do they go?
If people want to support me, they can reach out, send me an email. My email is Shakita, spelled SHAKITA Jones @gmail.com, and I'll respond to their email. They can find me on Facebook, Lupus Warriors United 2016, and Lupus for Black Women on Facebook. They can also find me on LinkedIn under Shakita Jones, and on Twitter, uh, Kiki Cure for Lupus. Yeah, I do need help. I do need support. Yes, I am a strong woman, but this battle is bigger than me, and I really want to bring attention to the discrimination aspect of it. And I want to express to people that lupus range from mild to life-threatening. It is a
Mm,
serious disease. People organs do shut down, people lives do change, and I'm fortunate that it attacked my skin,
yeah.
and it attacked my skin. What you see now is I have makeup on, but it attacked my muscles, it attacked my nerves, it
Mm,
attacked my mouth. Eventually my teeth are gonna there's this
wow.
that is very life changing. It
Wow.
really is.
Well, you are extremely brave, and I appreciate you for sharing your story and being so open, because I know that that's not easy to share all of that. And again, we honor you and we appreciate you, and we love that you're a sister on fire. So please keep pushing through. Please keep being on fire, and just thank you for your time and everything.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Absolutely, Shakita. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.